also Stephen Colbert. It's Redstone kissing up to Donald Trump to do the merger with Skydance.
Oh, well, it's all about the dollars and cents, 100%. It's all about there's a song Cream what was it Wu-Tang did?
Yeah.
Dollar bill, yeah. That's
And
not.
also, I don't know if you saw Donald Trump just posted on his broke down site about an hour ago. He wants to essentially sue Rupert Murdoch and Wall Street
Yeah,
Journal.
yeah. Oh, of course.
Folks,
Well,
you joined us in Mud Conversation. It's Lev Parnas. Lev knew Donald Trump. He's one of his fixers. Lev unfortunately went to jail, but he came out a better man, and he spent his time since then trying to expose Trump and MAGA and the entire corrupt oligarchy that exists. I just got home from Buffalo. I'm exhausted, but then I saw the news. Wall Street Journal was going to do a bombshell article, and Donald Trump called the Wall Street Journal and said, "Don't publish it." But Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, good on them. I think they see the writing on the wall that their horse is weak. And they published this salacious letter between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. We'll talk about it in a second. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein, that pedophile billionaire who died, was apparently died by suicide in 2019 when Donald Trump was president. And, the Epstein files that were promised to be released by Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and, Pam Bondi, that were allegedly being suppressed by the deep state and liberals. And lo and behold, that when Trump became president and Dan Bongino and Kash Patel worked for the FBI and Pam Bondi is the attorney general, there are no Epstein files. It's a nothing burger. And this week, Donald Trump mocked his own base and called it a hoax, and said they're weaklings, the people who believe in it. And he brought out all the old tropes. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Obama, Clinton, right? And it's the greatest example of the Streisand effect. The more and more he tries to hide it, the more and more it comes out. And then this Wall Street Journal article came out in the last, I don't know, I think 2 hours. And as I was telling Lev right before we went live, that Donald Trump went on his broke down site, is now warning or threatening his old buddies, Rupert Murdoch and Wall Street Journal. And before I give it to Lev, Wall Street Journal, folks, a right-wing outlet owned by Rupert Murdoch, not flaming liberals, not democratic socialists, not lefties. The Wall Street Journal published this, and this is on the heels of Nazi Nick Fuentes blaming Donald Trump. Oh, that Nazi that he dined with? That Nick Fuentes is completely done with Donald Trump. So much to unpack. And I'm like, there's one person I want to talk to, Lev. Let me just try him. I texted him. I'm like, it's late, but he's a trooper. He said yes. Lev, I give the floor to you. So much to unpack.
Thank you, my brother. And you're a trooper also. I mean, listen, we're here to save our democracy 24/7, and that's what we do because of our subscribers here and because of our following. I literally just got back. I was doing most of you guys were watching me here. We were doing a live for 2 hours for Congressman Lewis. Today is his fifth year anniversary as he passed away for good trouble. And today we had a great panel. We had a sold out audience. And one of the things that actually I was speaking about to them, Waj, over there, is that the Epstein is Donald Trump's kryptonite. Before I didn't even know
That's exact words I said. Yeah.
I didn't even know the letter was breaking yet because I was hearing through my sources that there's things. And I'm going to tell you something crazy. I'm going to break it here on Waj's network that I'm hearing that Dan Bongino might be leaking stuff.
Whoa.
Dan Bongino might be the weak link in this whole thing because Dan Bongino had a total blowout with Donald Trump. Dan Bongino did not want these Epstein files shut down. Dan Bongino made his whole career, made more money, made what's it called about this, and then he was going to leave. Then all of a sudden, Donald Trump called him and convinced him to stay. I think he threatened him to stay. I think it was more of a threat than convincing him to stay. So it's going to get interesting right now with some of the stuff that's going to start leaking because, folks, we know there are files. Whatever systematic name you want to call it, a list, a box of files,
Documents. Let's just call them documents.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, it's all technical. But there's a person sitting in prison, a person that was indicted, that was supposed to go to prison, that killed himself. And don't forget the other thing. He was indicted and arrested by Bill Barr.
All right.
Right. Don't forget, this was the Democrats, So a lot of the Republicans are going crazy, but this letter, I mean, is very interesting. It's gonna basically turn into with what now he said he's gonna sue Rupert Murdoch, but something else happened. So guess who retweeted him like literally 2 minutes ago? Pam
Who?
Bondi. Pam
Ah,
Bondi. And Pam Bondi says, because now, guys, we live in a world where the president, the attorney general are having these conversations in front of us while they're sitting next to each other. Trust me, this is all choreographed. There's no way Pam Bondi just decided she's going to retweet Trump without first getting permission. So anyway, she retweets him. President Trump, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal grand jury transcripts. What court? What grand jury? Which trial is? Who's on first? Who's on second? What is she going to be revealing tomorrow? If you want to bet, she ain't revealing nothing tomorrow. There's
yeah,
going to be.
distraction. It's
Oh,
all
oh,
about distraction, and no distraction has worked. Trying to threaten Rosie O'Donnell, stripping her of citizenship. That was last weekend. Didn't work. Now giving that 1 day sentence, so shameful, to the killers of Breonna Taylor. That's not working. Okay, how else can I distract? How a trade war? Okay, that didn't work, right? None of it is working, right? And he posted over the weekend against, excuse me, just a couple of days ago against his own base. Last week, when he was in that cabinet meeting with Pam Bondi, he made it worse by interrupting her, right? This is not going away. And then today you had Nick Fuentes, a Nazi. The Nazi that Donald Trump voluntarily dined with to this day has never ever made excuses or apologized for dining with a Nazi. It was Nick Fuentes and post anti Semitic Kanye West. I keep
yes,
receipts,
Kanye
folks.
West. Yes, yes.
Post anti Semite, pre Hitler lover Kanye West when he was in that de evolution phase. But Donald Trump met with him. And the reason, according to The Guardian, that he didn't distance himself from a Nazi, Nick Fuentes, is because internally MAGA realized that a part of the MAGA base are fans with Nick Fuentes. So Nick Fuentes, folks, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow with Danielle Moody on Dark's Ish, he went on a friggin' profanity-laced rant. And I'm so upset, Lev, that Donald Trump has me agreeing with a Nazi.
Yeah, get
He
rid
has
of
me
that.
like what I'm like, I'm so pissed off. I can't believe this Nazi is right. And he flamed Donald Trump and he was so pissed off at him because he said, "You're calling us weaklings. We had your back. You think we're fools. We're not fools. You have to release the files." Shane Gillis, another one of these kind of MAGA light bro comedians, flamed Donald Trump yesterday at the ESPY Awards. I'm sure you saw that clip went viral.
Yeah,
Andrew Schultz, another one of these piece of crap comedians who rode the wave. He's now realizing, Joe Rogan, Roseanne.
yeah,
So you're
all of them.
seeing
Yeah.
major fissures, Lev. And I want to talk about this letter real quick. For those who don't know, I'm going to read it from the Wall Street Journal. It isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in the third person. Quote, voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, the note began. Donald. Yes, there is. But I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Trump. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret.
Tickles.
Lev, your take.
I mean, first of all, it's sick to begin with, but and this is why I want to tell you guys something interesting. What else happened just now? Carolyn Levitt came out, and basically, I don't have her message here, but in paraphrasing it, she came out and said that this is a bullshit story, that this is a lie. It's a fact. Well, we know they were going to do that, but what she said is, she said that anybody that knows Donald Trump doesn't write letters like this. He doesn't talk in third parties, right? But let me remind you about something about Donald Trump. Maybe you guys might have forgot. Donald Trump was the guy that used to call up and pretend give himself a fake name to reporters to give report. So this is exactly Donald Trump. This is exactly what type of stuff Donald Trump. Because a lot of things, and you guys might see me. I do a show with Michael Cohen, and we go at it a lot of times because we disagree. Agree. One of the things is this subject right here where I disagree because he was saying that Donald Trump might he knows him for 10 years, and that he's never seen Donald Trump do anything wrong with Epstein or any of that. And I said, Michael, with all due respect, you know Donald Trump since 2005 to that. You don't know Donald Trump in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s when he was with Epstein, when they were hanging out, when he was running during a culture that was completely off the rails at the time, where you had people like the Weinsteins and everybody else, where, we're talking about a different world, and you had these guys were predators. I mean, this is a guy that came out, said, grab her by the,
Yep.
female private parts. This is a guy said, I walked into the pageant while these young girls barely of age, 18, 19 year olds, changing naked, and I would watch them come in, and this is predatory action. This is guy that E.G. Carroll, we found he's a convicted sexual predator. So I mean, between that, in order that you don't, we know he's in the Epstein files. We know he's there. We don't know to what degree. We don't know to what's it called. But what I'm saying, there's a lot more than that. Just there are financial people that he's covering there.
There you go.
Listen, I'm Jewish, and I hate to bring up policies about that, but I'm going to tell you, I think there's a lot from what my sources are telling me that the BB trip and the release and the coincitement, and then I had Zev Shavella on my show with reporting about Epstein's interaction with Israel and everything. Telling you, I know Trump. I'm saying very transactional. I'm saying to you, he got BB gave him that Nobel Peace Prize. So I think it's a combination of things. I don't think it's this. I don't think there's this like one smoking gun. I think just Trump is so transactional. Plus, he wants to protect his own ass. Even though there might, and that's why I told Michael, yeah, there might not be a smoking gun with a video of Donald Trump with the underage girl, but there might be enough circumstantial evidence to show, from what we already know and from what we will see, that will show that this guy is definitely the pervert we thought he was. And he doesn't want to distract. So he wants to cover it up, cover it up, cover it up, change the news cycle. I mean, listen, I'm hearing this. You want to hear something crazy that one of my sources told me that they're literally thinking about they're going to indict Adam Schiff. They're
Wow.
gonna, for mortgage fraud. They're literally gonna to change because to blow up the news cycle because they understand that and this is what I tell everybody. I said this today also at this roundtable we were talking about, and one of the questions was what should be the democratic message, like what should be united message, and I say the same thing that got Trump in office. He gave it to us. His ugly bill killed and destroyed, took away Medicaid from millions of people. His tariffs are destroying our economy. His immigration bill is arresting American citizens and throwing them to a concentration camp. Stop. Don't go into all of these other things, even though they're important. Even though I agree it's important about all the different things he does and how he abuses it, but they become distractions because majority of America, that's what they're worried. That's why he won. Those are the things. If you take a look, what he embedded every time he went to a rally, every time he spoke, he could have said a lot of crazy shit, but those were his three key points. And now he gave it to use against them because most of America hates that big ugly bill.
Yep.
They Republicans, Democrats alike. Everybody knows it. He knows it. His immigration stance, they can't stand it. Every day, people that voted for him are getting their own family members be deported. It's
Yep.
being reported every day. American citizens are seeing it. So his immigration plan is to shit. You know what I'm saying to you? And this last thing with the Epstein stuff, I think this is a key part, and this is what I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be in D.C. At the end of July, and I'm going to try to speak to Jamie Raskin, some congressmen. The Democratic Party, the other problem they have is none of them really understand what MAGA is about
Mm.
because you have to be in it to do because it's like you can't understand what a drug addiction is unless you've been a drug addict. I'm sorry to say that it's everything. Unfortunately, you can't understand what it's like being in prison. You can hear stories, you can assume, but unless you actually grow through some of these experiences, you cannot basically go through it. So the problem that Democrats have with getting MAGA to leave Donald Trump is they don't relate because as soon as any Democrat comes into MAGA country, they lose all credibility.
Yep.
But there are certain people out there that they do relate to, like me, like Michael Cohen, like others, that they're willing because we were part of that. And others that left the mega party. That right now, because of the rift with the Epstein stuff, right now it's so big. Watch, I can't even tell you. I go on these hardcore right wing mega spaces on X and other platforms, and I've never ever heard what is going on. And every day it's worse and worse. And right now, right before we got on, I was at another space and we were talking about, and each and every of these mega, I mean, big accounts, these are voters. These are not, we're not talking about the Bannons and because all those guys, Charlie Kirks, I mean, they'll get bought. Trump will call them. They'll all of a sudden, in a couple of weeks from now, change their whole story and tell you how it was a deep state. The Democrats try to push it and change the narrative because it's a. But the actual cult, his what's it called, is really taken because that a couple of words that he said that they took really personally, and being one of them originally, Maj, and when he said that I don't need you,
Yeah.
when he said in that text, I don't need you, when he said that you are
What are you doing?
stupid, that you are stupid, how, if you think about the Epstein case, you are stupid and foolish.
Hoax.
Yeah, hoax, hoax. And now the interesting part, which I've never ever heard them talk in all these years, they're starting to call him out on the lies of how he's trying to cover up by using the Democrats. They're like, Comey wasn't there. What's it called? What is the Clintons and the? I've never heard these words come out of their mouth. Like, and for them to come out and say that, that's why I say right now is the time. But it's also, you got to be very careful because the media, you can't trust the media. They're all screwed up. They're running with the stories and they're going to push whatever he dangles in front of them. But the leadership of the Democratic Party, and if you got, you have people you could call, and I tell all the subscribe call, and what's it called? Right now, we need to start going into mega country. We need to start going to. We need to. There needs to be a coordinated game plan. There needs to be, to go in there with certain candidates that are not far left, but are leaning where they will be able to go flip these cards. Because I say, when it comes to policies, I say for us to be able to get to a place where we could again talk about policies, debate, agree, disagree, we have to get our democracy back. Because right now we could sit there and debate anything you want. It doesn't matter because right now we don't control anything. They control everything. But if
Yeah,
we
they got the House, the Senate, they got the media, and folks who have been asking, Lev and I have been live for about the past 18 minutes. This is the Left Hook. Everything is free. There's no paywall. I'll have this entire interview up, hopefully in an hour once we're done talking. And Lev broke two pieces of rumor news here. The one rumor news that he broke is that he's heard from his sources that Dan Bongino is leaking. Dan Bongino is leaking a lot because Bongino is really pissed off because he, like so many others, made their career and their money by stoking the conspiratorial flame and radicalizing the MAGA base. They have created their own monster. It's like Frankenstein's monster that needs the red meat, and then they starved him, and now the monster is angry and is attacking its own creators. And these people, what they love more than anything is money. And they realize, oh no, my base might flip out on me, and that base has been radicalized to commit violence. I want people to really sit with this for a second. This is not just any ordinary conspiracy, folks. I've been following it for a while. Lev was in it. I was a masochist writing about it, researching it, knowing the MAGA base. I follow these accounts as well. It really came into focus real quick. We'll do a quick connect the dots timeline. Pizzagate, about 10 years ago, we're close to where I am about 20 years ago, a man comes with a Republican with a rifle, goes up to this pizza parlor, which also has ping pong tables. I've been there before, and says, "Where are the kids?" And like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I'm here to free the kids that Clinton has trapped." He wasn't crazy. He didn't have horns on his head. He wasn't nuts. He sincerely believed that Hillary Clinton was part of this international cabal that was sex trafficking children. All right. He goes to jail. Then that kind of devolve into
By the way,
QAnon.
Raj, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. By the way, since you were really a part of it, I might have some really interesting stuff for you because remember, there was a guy that was reporting on it on Fox, and then he got thrown out. I forgot his name, but he had all the stuff on that Pizzagate, and he sent me over so much stuff to give to Trump and Rudy that I just never did. But I have it. One day we should sit down.
Oh,
Give
let's
it
do
to
that,
you.
man.
and
Yeah,
and
because we should connect the dots for folks. Because I think people are,
yeah.
I'll finish this up real quick because I think people are taking this too lightly. Why MAGA's so pissed off? Because I agree with you. This is Trump's kryptonite. It's almost exact same words I used last week. Because folks, that then became QAnon. And QAnon was deliberately promoted by Trump and MAGA. Why? Because QAnon is a conspiracy theory. It's so bad that says that anyone who opposes Donald Trump and MAGA is part of an international cabal run by the Jews in a very anti-Semitic way. And they are devil worshipping child predators who kidnap and have sex with and murder children. Now, Lev and I are old enough to remember that the worst thing you could be called is a predator. You know what's worse than a predator? A child predator, a murdering pedophile, right?
Right.
So that's what they called us, folks. And Donald Trump promoted it openly, even after the FBI said that this is now a domestic terror threat that has the potential of radicalizing people in groups. Well, it did. It radicalized Ashley Babbitt, who showed up with 1,600 other insurrectionists, and she had violence on her mind. She was corrupted in part by QAnon. And what they said was Donald Trump is the only person who can come in and clean the deep state. He's the only person who, if you elect him, he will wash this deep state clean and he will reveal the entire plot. And guess what? The plot runs through one man, Jeffrey Epstein. Dan Bongino ran on it. Cash Patel ran on it. Pam Bondi ran on it. The right wing ran on it, right? And now you have to realize large
Don
part of the
Jr.
reason.
Don Jr. If I show you Don Jr.,
No, tell me.
I mean Don Jr. If I
You got the
give
tweet.
you if I give you a collection of his tweets and his actual videos that he used to come out with, it was like prosecute these pedophiles. What are they're covering up the pedophiles? Show us the Epstein. I mean, the things right now. If I'll just put the collection up there, but watch, you can't even all of them, all of them. I mean, and I remember that was part of the inbreeding because that was part of towards the end of my before I got arrested and it came out. But the biggest link of it was that it was a deep state that connected to the Obamas, the Clintons. I mean,
Comey,
Comey,
Hunter Biden.
Buying child trafficking, prostitution. I mean, drinking blood out of. I mean, such crazy shit that they were talking about. They even have movies about it. They made that. I forgot the movie that they made about a right wing movie about this
Oh
whole.
yeah, yeah, and the alleged person was also implicated in a scandal. I
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
and all of them would everybody that would they would be like the ones that get implicated in the scandal. But this was you're right. You follow them. You understand. I was one of them. This was like it. This was where we Trump comes in that nobody can do this. And if you think about it, what's the first thing that Trump and they did? The first thing Pam Bondi came into office in February 27th, she wrote. Did you read? Do you know the letter she put out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You go. She wrote the letter to Dan Bongino, not Dan Bongino, Cash Patel. Cash Patel wasn't even confirmed yet, telling him that she got all of this from the FBI office. She needs more. That they're going to explode it. You had Alina Habba. Alina Habba go on television. She's an attorney. She's now what is she? The special prosecutor. I mean, the intermediate prosecutor of New
She
Jersey.
wanted Pam Bondi's job. Oh, she wanted Pam Bondi's
Oh
job,
yeah,
but
oh big time, big time. But she came out. Think about this. She came out and said, and this is what it said. She said that there are people on the list that are going to pay the price and get prosecuted. They're going to. So I mean, like they said that there are people, and then Trump comes out and said, "What list? What do you people even talk?"
well, even remember they had Mike Cernovich and Libs of TikTok and all those other freaks, Laura Loomer, and they came out with those binders. I don't know if Loomer was there, and they came out with those binders, but they
Yeah.
didn't show what was in the binders. And then Pam Bondi says, "I have the files on my desk," and now she's like, "Oh no, no files. It was something else." So they lied to Lev. I want to ask you this question because you knew it. I was trying to talk to some other people about this. If I and I'm not gonna use myself because I would never. If someone was implicated so deeply in say, oh, I don't know, a friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, where literally we've seen videos of them partying, where he's on the flight logs, where literally, Jeffrey Epstein on tape has said, I was his closest friend. Wouldn't you perhaps not promote the Epstein conspiracy and, realize, oh shit, once I'm in power, the lie that I've fed my base might be used to destroy me? Or did they not just think at that ahead? Or did they think that the base would forget?
not only that, but remember, he got arrested and indicted in 2019 under Bill Barr, the Trump's DOJ, and they had the evidence. So when the Southern District reported to him, that was the prosecutor. So they know the shit that that's why they ran on it. But again, you gotta understand, Donald Trump is a compulsive liar. Donald Trump thinks he doesn't care. I've always said he doesn't care. He's not a MAGA. He's not America first. He's Donald Trump first. They're just now starting to realize it. Donald Trump would never allow any of his supporters, unless the guys that paid $1 million to come in, to even come next to him in Mar-a-Lago or Donald Trump is tells you what you want. Like he'd come to Alabama, and if Alabama needed a new road, he'd say the first thing I'm going to do come to office is I'm going to get you a road. If he goes to Connecticut and they say our problem is fentanyl, first thing I'm going to do is, I mean, that's the first thing. He's a liar, and again, he did not win because of what he won. He won because of the craziness that happened in the Democratic leadership,
Yeah.
the not united message. It was a perfect storm. I mean, there was a lot of things. Donald Trump didn't win because
Money, disinformation, inflation,
misinformation,
Biden's age,
Russia, and Biden engaged, all of that. There was just think about all of these things, and he barely won. Yes, he
1.4
won.
points.
Correct. Exactly. So yeah, and even that we still, is yet to be determined if Elon had a role in that, and who knows? We're not going to do conspiracy theories, but you never know. We still might find out that there were certain things happening behind the scenes. So yeah, so Donald Trump right now is and the base is completely, but that scares me big time. Also, Waj, as good as the news is, and that's why I want to also mention something that I'm hearing, and this is like really good. So, and this is like I would put I'm telling you this very importantly, that while because of this, he's even pushing harder now on part of the project 2025, which is called election reform. He has Stephen Miller and really, really going to work, and now he has Susie Wiles on top of it. And that's why another thing, if you dissect his messages, one of his message to in his Truth Social to his people was that leave Pam Bondi alone.
Right.
She's taking care of the 2020 election fraud and 2024 election fraud and much, much more. She's changing, electoral DOJ rules and policies of how they could criminally go after and who they could criminally go after. In Texas, he's trying to pick up 4 or 5 more seats by
Fine.
five exactly, and that's just the beginning. They're going to go to other states. That's part of the plan. And what I'm saying to you is, while yes, all of these other things are important, but folks, if we lose fair elections, we'll never get anything back.
Yep.
Only chance we have to fight this monster enemy is to keep our eye on the ball. Yes, still keep talking about the Epstein. Don't let that go. Don't let, what I'm saying, worry about all of the immigration. But make sure right now, because this next year is going to be the most important year of our life. And we say it a lot of times, but this is it. Because if we do not win these elections and be able to take back the House, if he's able to somehow rig this thing or scare people to come in or take away certain rights like early voting, mail-in voting, take away certain, voting boxes in low-income places, start having ICE stand there so people are scared to come in. I mean, if he starts implementing a lot of these things, and then besides the stuff he's doing with picking up here, seats in there, that's what worries me, because he sees this. He sees, for that mega's crack. He knows if he loses, like Bannon himself said, that this could lose us 40 seats in the House if we lose 10% of mega. They all understand it. And for him to double, triple down, and from what I'm hearing, that is my biggest fear, that I don't know, what it's gonna take, but we all need to keep our eye on the ball and scream at the top of our lungs. Watch every move he does when it comes to elections, anything.
When you and I talked last time, I recall I asked you about this, and you and I shared, and this was before it was announced, that he quite openly, folks, like a Bond villain, is telling Texas to gerrymander the map so they pick up 5 seats in the House for Republicans, we said that the election reform will be a tool for him to democratically, wink, wink, essentially rig the system so that they win at the ballot box. And furthermore, I believe you agreed with me that I say, and I'm afraid of this, I'm going to say it publicly, said publicly in a live audience history at Chautauqua Institute that Donald Trump, knowing him, following him, taking him literally and seriously, and so far being very accurate about the type of man he is. I said that he would not leave peacefully in 2019, and people thought it was crazy. I said he would pardon all the violent insurrectionists. I said that MAGA will bend the knee, no one will be able to control him. I said Marjorie Taylor Greene is the present and future of the Republican Party. I'm going to go on a limb, a small limb, and based on the evidence and his own words and his own actions, say that if this election reform does not work, and it seems like they're really going to get blown out, I do not hold I do not hold it past him, excuse me, to declare martial law,
Martial law.
then do the Insurrection Act, and then unleash ICE, which, by the way, people are not connecting the dots. That beautiful bill, which is extremely unpopular, and that cuts $1 trillion from Medicaid folks. Adds 180 billion dollars to ICE. It increases ICE agents to 10,000 agents, makes them pretty much like an army, more powerful, more funded than the armies of many countries, increases private prisons and detention centers. So if I'm Donald Trump, and I hate to give him ideas, if I have the House, the Senate, if I have my own personal Gestapo, an army, and I have the Supreme Court, and they say essentially that I'm king, then I'll just simply say invasion, 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 Antifa, I'll make some bullshit up, Lev, and then I'll say martial law, I'm going to punt the elections, don't worry, they'll come back, there'll be some uprising, I got to call the Insurrection Act, I got to crack skulls, oh, look, violence, martial law for longer, and then, yeah, Jill, that's really scary, watch. I believe we're suffering from a failure of imagination. When people say it can't happen here, I want you to go back to January 6, 2021. That happened in America. And I
Yes.
want people to say, well, that can't happen here. He pardoned 1,600 people. And then people say, well, we won't have ICE and the National Guard and the military terrorizing people. I give you LA. And then people say, oh, no, he won't openly, shamefully just like rig the elections. I give you what's happening in Texas, where he's openly telling the Republican leadership to find him 5 seats. So, Lev, I think you might agree with me, but I give it back to you. Am I off here?
No, you're 100% on. You're 100% on. And that's part of what I'm hearing, part of the plan that if all else fails, and this is why the only chance we have, not the only, I mean, I don't want to be the, like, there, but a huge opportunity, a huge window of opportunity we have is because for him to be able to do these things, he needs still his mega base control to support him on these insurrections, because those are going to be some very, very strong decision making. He's going to have his inner circle support him. And because of right now, the way the breaks are happening, that's why he's trying to do everything he can to do it. Because for him to be able to implement election reform like we're talking about and get away with everything, he needs his mega base on his side. He needs the congressmen, senators scared of him to pass it. He needs local officials to be scared and to be following along. He needs these influencers to be pushing his narrative, why he needs certain things done. And for that to be, he needs the meat. Right now, all of that is in the air. Right now, all of that is mishmash. So right now, this is a moment where I keep saying I sound like a broken record, but we need to, put the Democrats. We need to, whoever is listening out there, and whoever again, I'm going to be in D.C. I'm going to be speaking to them right now. Immediately, not in a year, not in a week, there needs to be a plan that goes into motion to start hitting right now strategically these red states, these red counties, these where the breaks are, do strategical. There's ways of technology is incredible nowadays, but watching what's going on, and I could tell you this it will start putting a damper because the louder these voices are, the more mistakes Trump is going to start making. Because
Yep.
also the other thing we found out today, which I do not believe she told us the truth. I think and I'm trying to find out. I'm working my lines hard on this one, Waj, about his actual what's wrong with him, because they said
I was going
today.
to ask you that right now. I think this dude's much more sick than he lets on.
Yes. Yes, yes, I agree with you. Because I'll tell you, first of all, like me and Michael Cohen today, we're talking about one of the things Michael Cohen, I didn't even know, but he's a major seriously blood thinners. And one of the comments she said today that he has these marks from taking aspirin. Well, I take a baby aspirin every day. Look at, I don't have marks. Michael Cohen takes very major blood thinners. He has no marks. So that's a total bullshit. His ankles exploding like that. You saw his ankles. I mean,
Yeah.
that was some serious stuff. Plus, also the other thing is you're seeing a connection with more and more, not just slip ups. And me and Michael spoke about this also. We're not just seeing him. It's one thing. See, we all know. I know Donald Trump. He likes to make up stories, and he believes in them. And then goes just like with the mayor of San Francisco. He was in a helicopter, and you can't knock it out. That's a story that he made to make himself look like a big guy or like make himself what's it called. But the fact that, he's starting to literally forget, like what happened yesterday about Jerome Powell,
Oh yeah.
when he literally couldn't realize for a second
Who
there
appointed
that
him? Like
who
you did.
appoint who appointed Jerome Powell. I mean, the guy that you speak about consistently, too late Jerome, whatever you call, you know what I'm saying to you, and you couldn't, realize that you're the one that appointed him at that moment, and these things. I
Or
truly believe.
also, Lev, the day before, I mean, if both sides, if it was Biden who did this, I think it was in Philadelphia the day before, where he just made up lies and talked about his uncle meeting with Ted Kaczynski, even though his uncle died
Yeah,
in
yeah. No,
1985.
but that's different. That's Trump. That's a narcissist. He has a trait, and I over the years, like, and that's why he'll make a story up, and then he never backs down. So you can't. He just eventually you either believe it or you move on, but he doesn't back down. So yeah, because he thinks it makes him look good, like by saying his uncle is MIT and this big.
Yeah, yeah,
That gives him like this credibility, like the family, like he might be smart. Like somebody might say, if your uncle went to MIT, you might have it. You know what I'm saying to you? This is the way he thinks like that. But the key points to watch out for is the things that he forgets. Because you know what I'm saying to you, it's one thing, you're talking about a story what happened 20 years ago. We all have that. He's, age. I'm not there to what's it called, but I'm looking at Jerome Powell as a subject he talks about all day long. He knows Jerome Powell. This is somebody, what's it called? So for him to make that type of, I do not believe that was a mistake. I think he definitely, and I'm also watching with with the way he's acting with Putin and that whole Russia Ukraine thing. I'm watching. There's definitely he's not. He's not
he
as
looks
sharp.
he looks slower. He looks
Yeah,
slower.
yeah,
He
he's
looks
not as sharp.
older. He spent 25% of his presidency so far golfing. We have him obviously, what's the Congo? We have him asking what are the executive orders on camera right before he signs it. He's only taken like 14 security here briefs. Like you mentioned, these small little slip ups that come up where he asks these questions and people are like, sir, you appointed him. And he doesn't look good. That whole diet of Diet Coke and pizza and hamburgers, probably not that wise at his age. And also, Nick Fuentes, the Nazi who loved him, openly called him out. He said, "You're old, you're bloated, you're this, you're that." Lev, I have to say this because I don't have faith in the institutions. I don't have faith in the Democratic Party. I'll tell you why. Um, Nancy Pelosi came out today, and I don't know if you saw, she said, Epstein's a distraction. Go to bread and butter stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you could do the bread and butter stuff. I get it. He's negative on immigration, thanks to the Gallup poll that came out. This big, beautiful bill is completely underwater. I understand that. The tariffs suck. He's underwater. I get it. But Epstein is the crack. And then you also saw Paramount, which is trying to do a merger with Donald Trump. They've gone all in on Donald Trump, and that's why, folks, all political. The reason why they've canceled Stephen Colbert is just to sweeten the deal, so Donald Trump allows the merger for Paramount and Skydance. That's what's happening. So all these corporations, even the Democratic leadership, they still don't see the opportunity to strike, and it's MAGA. MAGA is the one that is actually striking back at Trump. It's MAGA
Yeah.
that is the one that is creating the fissures. Am I wrong about this?
No, you're 100% right. And even about Nancy Pelosi, I'm not, one thing I said to everybody, I'm not going to talk bad about our side because right now is not the time about division, but there'll come a time of reckoning when hopefully we get our democracy back. But there's a lot of mistakes Nancy Pelosi has done because, again, not because she's a bad person, because she doesn't know Donald Trump. This is a person. These are people. Even Biden, Joe Biden. I mean, these are people that have been in this in the Senate, the Congress for 40 years, 50 years. What's it called? They're used to certain rules that people follow. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. You don't do this. You don't. You respect this. You don't. And here you got a guy like Donald Trump that just took a shit on everything they've ever known and does it and brings it up, and they don't know how to deal with it.
You
And
said it before. They don't know MAGA. They're not. I've
they
always said,
don't.
Lev, they're not built for this fight. There's not saying they're bad. They're not built for
Thank you.
this
Yes.
fight. They're not made for this moment.
Correct. There was a moment, there was a time where they were, but this is right now. You need to use right now the tools that he's giving you. Don't get distracted. Right now, you need to go out there and align some that mega will relate to. Like I'll give you an example. Like Joe Rogan right now, we should be attacked. We should be having people like me, people like that on Joe Rogan and pushing the conversation about Mega because they'll listen. They're listening to Joe Rogan.
Go
They're
on
listening to
Rogan,
guys
man.
like,
Do it.
but what I'm saying to you, I mean, if somebody out there knows, I'm ready to. But I'm with you. What I'm saying to you, big. But they're still blocking it. I mean, Donald Trump. I'm still on supervised release. Donald Trump. The
Mhm.
DOJ's after me every day. I risk every time
Mhm.
I go on here. I risk a dock at the door. I had the Crafton scenes on my show one time, and we were talking about. Remember with Comey and the seashells. An
Yeah.
hour after Brian was on my show, the Secret Service showed up at his house talking about how why they're talking about 8647 and all of that. So I'm still constantly busy. So believe me, I'm ready, but that's why I'm going to Washington DC because this is bigger than just me. I need support from our Democratic some of the leadership over there to put together a game plan so we could strategically go, I'm saying to you, so to go into strategic areas. They have the maps, we know where it is, to be able to go on strategic podcasts. What I'm saying to you? They have the ways of getting me on Rogan. They have the ways of getting proper. What I'm saying to you? There's things, but it has to be a coordinated. Right now it's like me and you. Right now, I try and save our democracy at 10 o'clock at night. You just got home. We're out here. My kids are sleeping, but we're trying to do it. And
Same
there's
with mine.
almost 2,000 people here with us supporting it and trying to because everybody cares wants to save our democracy. But we really need a coordinated plan and not just more talking. So I really truly believe that if we take this opportunity that God gave us with this mega crackum, I don't know if we could have another opportunity because if we mess this up, and I see some of that happening because of the way the media is messing it up. Because the more you have the media go out there and start just going after okay, because they're gonna start throwing shit all over the board.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna see then all of a sudden to Donald Trump say, "Oh, you see, it's the media," and he's gonna give his base a way to say, maybe they are trying to go out. And if that happens, we lost it, and we might never have another chance to
And
make
that's
it.
why guess who broke the story? Wall Street Journal. Guess who asked
Yeah.
him that question? New York Post. Because they know that their base that they've radicalized demands red meat.
Yeah.
And they know that their base will never forgive them. And they know their base, some of them are also violent. So they have radicalized. Donald Trump has created its own monster. And this is the kryptonite. The last thing I'll ask you before you and I'll let you go to your sleeping kids. Donald Trump's post from 8:33. Let me read it for you. The Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch personally were warned directly by President Donald J. Trump that the supposed letter they printed by President Trump to Epstein was a fake. And if they print it, they will be sued. So he's talking about himself in the third person right now.
Yeah,
Mr. Murdoch stated that
just like in the letter that they said he did.
Mr. Murdoch stated that he would take care of it, but obviously did not have the power to do so. Interesting. So he saved Murdoch. The editor of the Wall Street Journal, Emma Tucker, was told directly by Caroline Levitt and by President Trump that the letter was fake, but Emma Tucker didn't want to hear that. Instead, they're going with a false, malicious, and defamatory story. Anyway, President Trump will be suing Wall Street Journal, News Corp, and Mr. Murdoch shortly. The press has to learn to be truthful and not rely on sources that probably don't even exist. Trump has already beaten Stephanopoulos, 60 Minutes, and others, and looks forward to suing and holding accountable the once great Wall Street Journal. It has truly turned out to be a quote. He's quoting himself. Okay. Disgusting and filthy rag. And writing defamatory lies like this shows their desperation to remain relevant. If there were any truth at all on the Epstein hoax, As it pertains to President Trump, this information would have been revealed by Comey, Brennan, Crooked Hillary, and other radical left lunatics years ago. That doesn't make sense because you said they're part of the deep state, but I digress. It certainly would not have sat in a file waiting for all caps, quotes for no reason, Trump to have won 3 elections. This is yet another example of fake news. Lev.
You like the way he put in there. He won 3 elections.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
He won 3 elections. I mean, because it's all about that.
He's so petty.
Uh, First of all, you could tell by his nervousness, by his language, that the letter is probably true. Okay, I haven't seen the actual letter, so I can't say 100%. But just reading his response, that night I would say it's 99%. That definitely there is that, and I think, like I said before, I think there's a lot more because Donald Trump. Look, guys, the one thing when me and Michael had our debate about, he said to me, I'm a lawyer. I need facts. I said, look, Michael, there's two things in court. There's a way people get convicted because there's a smoking gun. It's facts. You see, you got his fingerprints. You have a video. The guy
Right.
shot him. And then there's also things called circumstantial evidence. Like, for instance, we know I'm sitting here right now and I hear thunder outside. I hear all of a sudden, rain pour. I don't see it, but then I come outside and I see it's all wet everywhere. I mean, I could probably bet my life on it that it just rained outside, that some elephant didn't just, pour it. So that's called circumstantial evidence. So we know Donald Trump for a fact ran with Epstein. They were good friends. They
Closest
were
friend, according to
neighbors
Epstein, for a long time.
for a long time. I mean, Don Jr. Used to call him Uncle, what's it called, Epstein, for a while. I mean, they were close. I mean, Donald Trump also. You also have to, and I'm not justifying it in any way because it's disgusting, but it was a different time in 1970s and 80s and 90s. Not even 90s already. The change started shifting, but the way women were treated in different positions, the way they were looked at, and the way men in power, like Donald Trump, like Epstein, that used to. And that's why Donald Trump, has told you these little things by I could grab her whenever I want to, I could walk in on these are things. And to make matters even go further, Donald Trump is a convicted sexual offender. I
And
mean, it's a
liable for
fact.
sexually assaulting and defaming E. Jean Carroll.
I mean, he's dead. It's black and white. So that's what he's a predator. Now, the fact that we're gonna find a lot of nasty things probably in the Epstein stuff, yeah, I mean, it's gonna just validate everything else. And Donald Trump doesn't want to divert from his base, doesn't want the media to go, doesn't want maybe get embarrassed and I mean, Donald Trump. But I think it's a lot more than that.
Yep.
I think there's financial stuff. I
Yep.
think there's financial because Donald Trump is very transactional.
Yep.
And for him to go against the base the way he's going, I think he's covering up for some serious people and some maybe even countries. You know what I'm saying? And like I
And
said,
yeah, I wonder what countries those are. And I want to quote Donald Trump how he went after his base. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into the bullshit hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson, probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. So he's calling his own base past supporters
past supporters.
buying into the bullshit and weaklings. And those supporters are pissed.
Yes.
The wedge has to be. I mean, this is gift that keeps on giving. Wall Street Journal came out with it. This is not going to end, folks. And what I've kept saying is, where everyone's looking for a haymaker, this is not a haymaker, but it's going to weaken him. And it's
Yeah.
weakening him at the perfect time when his signature bill is -25 with most voters, -45 with independents. Immigration, now he's underwater because people didn't vote for grandmas and grandpas and cities to be terrorized by masked agents. He's underwater on the economy. He's underwater on the trade wars. The inflation doesn't look good. Moody's downgraded our credit rating. No one's coming to America. It's quickly becoming a shithole country. Once Medicaid is cut, people are going to die. It's all getting really bad. Oh, yeah, climate change. Oh, yeah, Central Texas. Oh, yeah, the most incompetent people essentially being incompetent in their jobs. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. They could have prevented deaths, but they didn't. And if we had competent people, more people would have survived in Central Texas. But voila, this is what you get when you get greedy, incompetent racists in positions that require actual expertise. Um, I say
Please.
keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Lev joined me last second. We're both exhausted. I came back from a trip. Lev just came home. We got kiddos. But I said, I think Lev would be up for this. We should not.
Always, brother.
And I didn't want
Always.
to. I didn't want to take away an opportunity to weaken this man because I agree with Lev that we're dealing with a fascist. And if people disagree with us, I tell you again to look at what's happening in Texas as he gets more desperate, as he gets more old, as he goes down in the ratings, like a rabid animal, he will become more violent and more dangerous, in my
Oh,
opinion.
and one more thing before we go, I'm going to give you two wild cards to look at. Keep your eye, as Rachel Maddow says, watch this space. Elon Musk and Robert Kennedy Jr., MAHA. They have their own plans. Each and they're separate, but they don't include Trump. Neither one of them. Watch that space.
And also, I'm going to go ahead and say that Peter Thiel and his plan, his contingency plan, JD Vance, also don't involve Donald Trump. So keep your eye
Yes.
on that space as well. Lev, shamelessly promote yourself before we leave.
Guys, listen, just, what I need is you guys to go subscribe. We need to get the message out. Subscribe, Substack. I'm here. This is our family. Subscribe to me, Wajid. Subscribe to all the independent journalists out there that are trying to keep this thing informed. And if you can, we appreciate everything. And for the paid subscribers, we do some great stuff because the information here, I don't have no paid walls. It's all here to make sure to get you the information to save our democracy. So God bless every one of you, and thank you for those of you that do support and subscribe.
And this is the Left Hook, no paywalls. If you have a few dollars, throw them my way because I have a couple of kids. But if not, like Lev said, we want people to be informed and fight fascists. For those of the nearly 2,000 people who joined us, this is about 50 minutes long conversation. I'll have it up in about 30 minutes. Strongly recommend go back and listen to Lev. He's got some juicy scoops, some juicy inside scoops that I won't ruin for you, that he hears from his sources. And folks, stay on this, stay on this, stay on this. Use your social media platform, share these articles. Send it to your Trump voting family members. Just it's death by 1,000 cuts. There's going to be no haymaker, and the Avengers aren't coming. It's going to be 10 toes down. A full contact sport is going to take the people. The people. You've seen the institutions. The institutions. You gotta force them to do the right thing, folks. It's a big club and you ain't in it. But you see the cracks, exploit the cracks. Lev and I will be here doing our job on Substack. Folks, tomorrow is Democracy-ish with me and Danielle. We're going to be at 3 p.m. I also have a couple of good interviews coming up. Subscribe to Lev Substack, subscribe to mine. We'll see you next time. Until then, be kind, be decent, be empathetic, and don't be a fascist. Lev, take care, man. Thank you.
Take care,
Rest
brother.
up.
Get some rest. Get some rest.